Okay, imagine this. You need to prove who you are, but all you got is this, like, tiny slip of paper. Right? It just sounds kind of crazy, but that's the deal in Israel with the SPAC. It's this, like, little attachment to your main ID card, the Zehut.
Yeah, and it's pretty amazing how important this little thing is over there.
Right, like it's not just like showing your ID at a bar or something. We're talking bank accounts, voting, healthcare, like, serious stuff.
Absolutely, it's like everything. And I think it kind of shows how Israelis, like to do things efficiently. Keep that sturdy ID card safe at home and just carry this compact SPAC around for everyday use.
So walk me through this. What's actually printed on this little wonder document?
Well, think of it like a mini version of your ID card. It's got all the basics, full name, your Israeli ID number, date of birth, of course, your legal status in Israel, and your main address.
Okay, so all the essentials. But why two documents? Wouldn't it be easier to just have one?
Well, see, the Zehut, it's like built to last, right? It's got to withstand, years of use. The SPAC, on the other hand, it's your everyday companion, easy to carry, easy to replace if you need to.
Oh, speaking of replacing, I read that it's surprisingly easy to get a new one in Israel if you lose it.
It is. They've really streamlined the whole process. You can even do it online or use these self-service kiosks.
Wait, kiosks? You mean like vending machines for ID documents?
Yeah. Pretty much. You can just print out a new SPAC right there. But if you're more of an online person, there's this website called Mazakal.
Mazakal, okay, I like that. So does this mean no more lines at the government offices?
Well, not if you don't want it. Mazakal handles a lot of the, the bureaucracy, the paperwork.
Oh, okay. So hold on. So if I needed to update my address, I could do that through Mazakal too.
Absolutely. Yeah, they've got you covered. They even have a WhatsApp number you can use to get help. It's 058-773-2701.
Okay, that's impressive. And what about this digital SPAC I keep hearing about?
Oh, yeah. Well, Israel is really moving towards digital everything, and the SPAC is no exception.
So it's basically like having a digital copy on your phone.
Exactly. It's it's way more convenient and a lot safer too, especially if you're the type who loses things.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so let's break down the different ways to get a SPAC.
Okay, so you got three main options. First, you can download that digital version, right, straight from Mazakal. Second, you can use those self-service kiosks we talked about, but that's only if you have the biometric ID card. And
the third option, that's the old school way.
You got it. Go into a Ministry of Interior office. But honestly, Mazakal is just so much easier. They can often just handle it for you. You don't even have to go anywhere.
Seriously. It's like having a personal assistant for all things bureaucratic.
Yeah, basically. And think about it. Losing your ID is super stressful. So the system, it tries to take away some of that stress.
So it's not just about efficiency, but also about making things easier for people, more human.
Exactly. And there's actually another layer to this whole SPAC thing that's, it's kind of interesting. Did you know parents of fallen soldiers can actually have a special mention of their child on their own documents?
Really? Wow, I had no idea.
It's it's a reminder that these documents, they're not just, pieces of paper. They're connected to people's lives, their stories.
Wow. Yeah, that definitely adds a whole new, dimension to what we're talking about.
It really shows how deeply connected these documents are to Israeli society. They're not just about rules and bureaucracy. They're about identity and belonging.
That's a really powerful point. Okay, so we've covered what's on the SPAC, why there's two documents, how easy it is to get a new one. We even talked about, its deeper meaning.
Yeah, and we've only just scratched the surface.
Right. But before we move on to the Zehut itself, I just want to, emphasize how easy it is to get a new SPAC. Just go to Mazakal. They've got a website and even a WhatsApp number. It's 058-773-2701 for anyone who needs a little help.
Yeah, they're a great resource. They really show how dedicated Israel is to making these things accessible for everybody.
Okay, so before we wrap up part one of our deep dive, let me ask you this. If you were designing an ID document, what would you include, to really, capture who you are?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think Welcome back. So we've been talking about this SPAC, this little piece of paper, but, it actually carries a lot of weight.
Yeah, it really is amazing how such a small thing can be so, essential over there. But now it's time to tackle the big kahuna. Right, the Zehut itself.
Oh, yeah, the heart of Israeli identification. This is the document that, officially says who you are in Israel, confirm your legal status, all that.
Okay, so let's break it down. What exactly are we looking at here?
Well, you'll see the familiar details, from the SPAC, your full name, your ID number, date of birth, address. But the Zehut goes a little deeper. You know, it tells you your legal status, like whether you're a citizen, a permanent resident, or a temporary resident.
So it basically outlines your rights and privileges in Israel.
Exactly, and it even includes things like your parents' names, marital status, even your nationality.
Wow. That's a lot of information for like one little card.
It is, and unlike the CFOC, which is meant for everyday use, the Zehut that's built to last. It's got to withstand years of use.
Now I've heard there are like two main types, right? The classic paper version and this newer biometric one. What's the difference?
Well, the classic paper version is the one that, most Israelis are probably used to. Your photo is, embedded right in it, along with, all those key details.
Okay, so the biometric version, is that like having a mini fingerprint scanner in your pocket or something?
Pretty much, yeah. It's a smart card, kind of like a credit card. It has a little microchip that stores your biometric data, specifically your fingerprints.
Okay, so how does that even work?
Imagine you're at, airport security. Instead of fumbling around with, your passport and your boarding pass, you just scan your biometric Zehut, right, at a kiosk.
So it's all about, streamlining the identification process, making things easier?
Exactly. It's faster, it's way more efficient, and it really cuts down on, human error. Plus, your biometric data, it's all, encrypted and protected.
Okay, that makes me feel a little better. So it sounds like a pretty big deal in terms of, security and convenience.
It is, and a lot of Israelis are already using it. You can use it for, voting, banking, all sorts of government services.
So it's like a master key to life in Israel. Now, we talked about replacing the CFOC, but what happens if you lose your .dat? That seems a little trickier.
Yeah, it is a bit more involved. You'd have to report it to the police first, and then go to a Ministry of Interior office to get a new one. But Monte-Cal can actually can still help with that.
Really?
Oh yeah. You can schedule an appointment at the Ministry of Interior right through their website. Saves you a lot of time. Or hey, you can just send them a message on WhatsApp. That number we talked about, 058-773-2701. They might even be able to handle it for you.
Wow, they really are a one-stop shop for all this bureaucratic stuff.
They are, and it brings us to a bigger point. The Zehut, it's more than just a piece of plastic. It's like a symbol of belonging, of citizenship. A real tangible connection to Israel.
I can see that. It's like a constant reminder of your identity and your rights within Israeli society.
Exactly. It makes everyday life easier, makes it simpler to interact with the authorities, and it even promotes trust within the community.
So the Zehut, it's not just about identification. It's like you said, it's a symbol, it's a facilitator, and it really reflects this this Israeli commitment to security and efficiency.
Yeah, very well put. And it's fascinating to see how technology, with the biometric version, is changing it.
Totally. Okay, before we move on to our final part, let's go back to that thought experiment we were talking about. About designing your ideal ID. Now that we've really explored the Israeli system, what features would you include? What really stands out to you?
That's a tough one, I think, for me.
Welcome back to our deep dive into these Israeli identity documents. We've gone from the CFOC, that little slip of paper, to the Zehut, the biometric one, all that.
Yeah, we've seen how they're a part of daily life there. A part of personal identity, even national pride.
Right. And now I'm kind of curious about the bigger picture. What do these documents tell us about Israeli society, as a whole?
That's a great question. I mean, on the surface, they're about identification, security, all that. But there's got to be more to it, right?
Right. Like what?
Well, think about how much they emphasize efficiency and accessibility, right? We talked about how easy it is to replace the CFOC, those streamlined processes through Monte-Cal, the fact that so many people are using that biometric technology. It all kind of points to a society that that values convenience for its citizens.
It's like they took something that could be like a total bureaucratic nightmare, right, and turned it into something that's actually user-friendly.
Exactly, and that says a lot about their commitment to making things easier for people, I think.
Now let's talk about the future for a second. What kind of trends are you seeing on the horizon for these documents?
Well, the move towards digital everything, that's a big one. We're already seeing it with the digital CFOC, the biometric Zehut. But I think that's just the start.
So you're thinking like a future where we might not even need, physical documents at all.
Yeah, it's definitely a possibility. Imagine like your whole identity, securely stored on your phone. You just you scan your fingerprint and boom, there it is.
That sounds kind of futuristic, but also like a little scary, to be honest. What about privacy?
Oh yeah, those are definitely valid concerns, and something that would have to be like addressed really carefully. But with all the advancements in encryption and cybersecurity these days, I think it's possible to create a system that's convenient and secure.
It's definitely something to think about as technology keeps changing things. Okay, before we wrap up, I want to go back to that thought-provoking question we've been talking about.
Oh, you mean about designing our ideal ID document?
Yes. Now that we've really explored this Israeli system, what elements would you put in your own design? What really speaks to you?
For me, it's all about finding that balance, right, between how well it works, how secure it is, and how it reflects who you are. I want something that's easy to use, that nobody can mess with, but still shows my own unique identity.
I like that. It's a good reminder that these documents aren't just about proving who we are, but also about celebrating what makes us unique.
Exactly, and as technology keeps shaping the future of identification, it'll be interesting to see how these documents how they change to meet the needs of people all over the world.
That's a great point. Well, as we wrap up our deep dive into Israeli identity documents, I hope you've gained a new appreciation for these seemingly simple things.
They really are. They really are more than meets the eye, right? They give you a glimpse into a whole society. They reflect personal stories, and they symbolize national pride.
And if you ever find yourself needing a CFAC or want to update your information, don't forget about Middle, their website, and that WhatsApp number 058-773-2701 can make the whole process a lot smoother.
They're a fantastic resource, really dedicated to making these things easy for everyone.
And that's a wrap on our deep dive. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep into this fascinating world around you.